So some of my favorite mythical beings are the death gods or death spirits of Japan, known as the Shinigami. They are similar to the Grim Reaper of the West in many ways, but are not necessarily thought of as something to be feared, as they form part of the natural cycle of life. Interestingly, the Shinigami arrived quite late on the folklore scene, and their unique role has transformed in Japanese culture over the centuries. Let's take a closer look. The word Shinigami is made from two Japanese words, shi meaning death, and kami meaning god or spirit. In Japanese mythology, the world is filled with kami of various sorts. Everything in the world has a spirit that governs it. There are kami of the sky, kami of the rivers, kami of luck, and of course, kami of death, or death gods, the Shinigami. However, just which kami are true Shinigami is not always clear. For example, Izanami, the goddess of creation, is sometimes referred to as the first Shinigami because she introduced death to the world when she gave birth to the god of fire, Kagutsuchi, and died in the process. Likewise, Yama, the god of the underworld, is also thought of as a Shinigami, but it's not entirely clear whether these two are true death gods or not. The same goes for the Oni, a type of Shinto yokai spirit that resembles demons, trolls or ogres, who are now also sometimes thought of as a type of Shinigami. Since Shinigami are invisible to everyone except a rare few who have some sort of connection to death, or who are close to dying themselves, no one is exactly sure what they look like. On top of this, it seems that even when Shinigami are seen, they never have the same look or shape, which means that a person won't necessarily recognize a Shinigami if you should see one. Very little is known about the parentage of the Shinigami. Presumably, they must share the same mother and father as all kami, those being Izanami and Izanagi. However, they are never mentioned in the original creation tales, and so we are left with nothing more than educated guesses. This is because, even though Shinigami are kami like any other Shinto religious law, they are actually a relatively modern invention. It was not until Japan came into contact with the West that the idea of a death god or death spirit, such as the Shinigami, really entered the collective imagination. It may very well be that the Western folk tales of a Grim Reaper served as the original inspiration for the Japanese death gods. It seems that the Shinigami only entered Japanese folklore around the 18th or 19th century. Shinigami isn't even a word in classical Japanese literature, with the first known instances of the term appearing in the Edo period, when it was used in a type of Japanese puppet theater, kabuki performances, and literature where Shinigami are not portrayed as all-powerful gods of death, but as evil spirits or demons that tempt people to commit suicide or that keep watch over people in their moments of death. In these stories, Shinigami whisper suicidal thoughts into people's ears. Double suicides were also very common, where the Shinigami would whisper in the ear of someone to first murder their spouse and then kill themselves too. The Shinigami would also possess people and lead them to deaths in dangerous places, such as mountains or railway tracks. At the same time, however, other even more recent stories portray Shinigami as actual gods, beings that preside over the realm of the dead and make the cosmic rules of life and death. Before the idea of death kami came to Japan, traditional beliefs did not necessarily see death as a bad thing, but as a normal part of the cycle of existence. The Shinigami are thus also regarded as agents who facilitate the smooth running of this cycle, merely ensuring that people die at the appointed time, and then escorting their souls into the afterlife. According to legend, Shinigami work in pairs, and appear when it is a person's preordained time to die, at which point they invite him or her over the threshold between life and death. We know this from an old traditional tale in which a man who is fed up with his life prepares to commit suicide. Before he could do so, however, he is visited by a Shinigami who tells him that his time has not yet come. The Shinigami also explains that each life is measured on a candle, and once the flame burns out, the person dies. This shows that the Shinigami have no control over who lives and dies. To stop the man from committing suicide, the Shinigami tells him an easy way to make money. The man is told that he can pretend to be a doctor who could cure any form of disease. By speaking some magic words, a Shinigami can be forced back into the underworld, thus lengthening a person's life. The man is also informed that this would only work if the Shinigami is sitting at the foot of the bed. If the Shinigami is sitting at the head of the bed, however, it means that the sick person must die. Using this newfound knowledge, the man grows very rich. One day, the man is called to a house to cure someone. When he enters, he sees that the Shinigami is sitting on the head of the patient's bed, indicating that death was certain. The family pleaded and begged, and offered him a large amount of money. Consumed by greed, the man decides to take a risk, and when the Shinigami dozes off, he quickly switches the orientation of the patient's bed, thus saving their life. The Shinigami is obviously unhappy with what he did, and when the man reaches home, it criticizes him for his disobedience. The Shinigami then changes his tone, and suggests that they go out for a drink to celebrate his earnings. The man falls for the trick, and the Shinigami brings him to a building that is filled with candles. The Shinigami then shows the man his candle, which is nearly burnt out as a result of what he had just done. The man is then offered a chance to extend his life by transferring the wick and wax of his candle to another's. The man fails in this attempt, as he drops his candle and dies. In modern times, many Japanese people who adhere to Shinto still very much believe in Shinigami, as they do in other kami. Of course, modern Japan is a very secular nation, so most people do not literally believe in the existence of Shinigami. That being said, the Japanese do love to honor their traditions, so Shinigami are still very much a part of Japanese culture. Shinigami have appeared in several very popular literature and television series from Japan. Two notable titles are the anime Death Note and Bleach. In Death Note, the Shinigami are grotesque creatures that write the names of mortals who are to die in a notebook. One of these death notes falls to earth and into the hands of a human, who then tries to rule the world with it. In Bleach, the Shinigami are actually a society of samurai whose job it is to keep law and order in the afterlife. They usher souls to the beyond and keep lost and unruly souls in check. Other famous pop culture examples that portray different versions of the Shinigami include the manga Black Butler, the anime series Boogie Pop Phantom, the manga Initial D, and others. From these, it seems that the Shinigami are destined to remain popular mythological creatures, at least for the foreseeable future. As always, thank you so very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe and share. Till next time, bye bye.